Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another One Piece manga review. This week we're reviewing chapter 1029, The Tower. My name is Lyn and Christian. I'm joined by my guy, as always, Mr. Christian Hollinger. Christian, how you doing this week? Solid One Piece chapter. This is the type of chapter that we need. Like, you know, it's not Fukurokujo, so it's not that bad. It follows Killer, which me and you, I think actually last episode, we might have predicted that we were going to see Killer and Hawkins next. It was either that or we said about Fukurokujo and Raizo, but we assumed that Sanji and Queen and Zoro and King wouldn't get going fully yet. So we're here, but what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. This chapter was one of those chapters I remember when I was reading it, I was like, man, people are going to be clowning a whole lot of people because it's made easy, you know, low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But it was also pretty enjoyable. As you said, it wasn't our big ticket items like, you know, Luffy versus Kaido, Zoro versus King, Sanji versus Queen. But it wasn't the lowest tier like Raizo versus Fukurokujo. So it's wrapping up.
Tier B.
I wanted to see. Yeah.
I think this was the tier B of Onigashima. If the first three are your top tiers, I know people may get upset that I'm saying Law and Kid versus Big Mom is not top tier, but like, can we talk about this now? I don't think that we're gonna see Big Mom lose. Like, I just don't. I guess let's save that because that gets to the end of like what happens with Killer, but I just don't see that happening.
Right. I mean, I don't necessarily see it happening either. Just because I said before, it feels like there's too many plot points for Big Mom and Elbaf. I don't necessarily like the feeling of, you know, Luffy going to Whole Cake, then, you know, being involved with Big Mom, and then going to Wano and being involved with Big Mom, and then going to Elbaf and being involved with Big Mom. So unless the next arc does not center around the Straw Hats going directly to Elbaf and Big Mom following, maybe if we get a break and she comes back up, you know, we'll be refreshed for that. But at the same time, I don't see it in the writing for Kid and Law to
it doesn't make sense.
Take her down. Maybe to injure her enough where she goes back to Totland, and then, you know, we can deal with possible Blackbeard ties or something like that. But I don't think that, you know, Big Mom's going to be on the forefront of this fight at all. And then we also have the lure of her talking to Perospero about a possible betrayal. So as Kaido actually said in this latest anime episode, you know, pirates will betray you when they feel like they're going to lose. So if the tides are turning, I see Big Mom getting the hell up
dipping out. Yeah. Like, sorry, Kaido, you lost.
Right.
I'm out of here. And that would be poetic because, like you said, he said that, and we just saw it in the anime. And by the way, anime is great right now. So everybody watching it is really good. Like, me and Christian literally spent 15 minutes before we even started recording this, just talking about how good the anime is. But all right, let's get into the review. Basically, we do a quick summary of what happened in the chapter, and then we break down each part of the chapter and just see where the discussion takes us. So this chapter starts off with my man Sanji. We're seeing post the blade snapping from his head, the blade breaking away, and then everybody's like, what's going on? Queen's like, talking about what Judge said about how that's not hockey. That's what Judge made about the exoskeleton and all of that. And then also mentions how Judge also wanted to take away people's emotions. And Sanji's like, oh no, does that mean I'll lose my emotion? And he thinks back to his brothers and he's like, nah, I got to dip, see what's going on with my body first. He runs away for a little bit, strategic retreat. And then Queen chases him, like, basically, put on the suit. We got to fight. Show me your powers. This was essentially moving Sanji to get his own battlefield. So now Sanji has his own battlefield. Zoro and King have their own battlefield, and Luffy and Kaido have their own battlefield. The fight then shows Big Mom, Kid, and Law, and Kid's just getting his ass beat because his head's hurting because of what Hawkins is doing to himself, thus inflicting pain on Kid. Hawkins bashing his head in the wall. And I must say, Hawkins, very sadistic in this chapter. Didn't expect, like, the type of character that we got in this chapter from Hawkins, so I enjoyed that. Give a little bit more lore to him. And then we get straight into Hawkins versus Killer, and a lot of cool dialogue that happens that we got to talk about. But basically, the fight happens, and Killer takes out Hawkins in the way that me and you, before we even heard what anybody else was theorizing, right when we came on this platform, we were like, if Hawkins is fighting Killer, Killer will cut off his arm. thus saving Kid. And boy, did that happen. And then Killer just defeats Hawkins after that because there's nothing less he has to worry about. And then at the end, we see Kid like, all right, I can fight now. And Killer tells him, get going, partner.
Right. Yep.
So we'll see. But Christian, where you want to begin, my man?
Again, almost every time we do this, I choose to go chronologically just because I think Oda does a very good way of setting up his chapters where you want to talk about it that way. Oftentimes, there's a few times where, you want to start at the end. But again, I want to start at the beginning because it makes the most sense. So as you said, we're picking up with the blade snapping. We see again, Sanji doesn't seem to be very damaged by this. Unlike Yonji, he doesn't need heavy machinery to fix himself. He can kind of like pull his cheek back into play. And Queen does not seem to be fazed by this at all, which again doesn't surprise anyone. I mean, Queen's been asking Sanji to show off the Vinsmoke technology. So
this makes me think we're getting a Mads flashback even more. Like I'm just ready for the Mads flashback if it happens.
Right. And so this leads into the first panel that when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is going to be very good Sanji slander. And this is, at this point, I've already sent you this meme. You told me I was slick for this. But it was like, ever since the Kaido's moment, like, Luffy, is this how far your ceiling will go? It's like, okay, so Luffy's ceiling includes people like Odin, Roger, Whitebeard, Shanks. Zoro's ceiling involves Ryuma. And then it's like, people are like, oh, is Sanji ceiling his brothers? And it's like,
it's
oh,
so
God.
Silly, man. Like, y'all are crazy for that.
No. As soon as I read it, I knew that meme was coming. And I was like, oh, poor Sanji, bro. Like, that's so bad. Because in my opinion, I've already covered this. Sanji would have beat his brothers back in Whole Cake Island if he wasn't being blackmailed or if he wasn't caught off by just the humane cruelty. So I also said that writing-wise, it seemed like Oda was trying to take credit away from Sanji to make the Vinsmokes look better. Like Niji saying that Sanji was slow, yet Sanji speed blitzed Oven and has done things like blue walk underwater. It didn't make sense that Niji would look that fast compared to Sanji. When
it's
Sanji
tearing down Sanji to build up the other characters. Like Oda does that all the time with Sanji. He's even doing it right now. Like he's building up the fight. Like he's Don King essentially for Sanji's Mike Tyson. But instead of being positive, he goes negative. But our guy Sanji usually rises to the occasion. When it's time.
And I remember when Sanji was first getting, I think this was 1027. When we were first finding about his genetic modifications. And the first thing people were going to was that clip where Katakuri effortlessly took care of Ichiji. And they were like, well, this doesn't really change anything. And it's like, well, Ichiji is a lower caliber fighter, in my opinion, than Sanji. Mm-hmm. So if Sanji gets, these raid suit abilities, he's not going to get, punked the way that Ichiji got by Katakuri.
The best Vinsmoke has to be Nichiji, which is the red one. And even then, I think Sanji's stronger than him.
Well, no, the red one, that's what I'm saying. Like, Katakuri easily punked Ichiji.
Oh, wait, I thought Ichiji was the blue one. Well, whoever the red one is.
Ichi is 1, Niji is 2, San is 3, and then Yonji is 4.
Okay, bet. Yeah. Well, yeah. The red one he got punked.
There's literally a moment where I think like Katakuri catches him, punches him one time in his stomach, and he's like knocked out. And it's like, oh, so like exoskeleton doesn't really mean anything. Well, sure, if the only thing you have going for you are the Vinsmoke genes, right? Sanji doesn't have that. So he shouldn't get punked the same way. And so then this leads into another scene where it's like, okay, people who are reading and are at least trying to be open-minded will understand Sanji's freaking out about becoming a heartless, ice-cold kind of being, not necessarily
this is an ice cold cyborg, essentially.
An ice cold cyborg. He's not running away from Queen because he's scared of Queen. He's scared of what's happening to him. Yet, again, it still looks kind of bad because again, I said beforehand, Sanji had excellent portrayal defense-wise. not necessarily offense-wise. So I'm still waiting for that. And although, to your point, this is setting up, an isolated arena for Queen and Sanji to fight so we don't get distractions, it still boils down to, with a lot of people and a lot of ways that people perceive this, as Sanji running away from a fight. So it has its nuance there. I'm just really, really hoping Oda can deliver some badass moment again, because I really felt as though, regardless of circumstance, we haven't gotten an objective badass Sanji moment.
And I think all people across the board can agree to that.
Right.
Like, we're hoping that he closes the deal, and I think he will. And like I said, Queen is the perfect person because Queen has ties to Judge. By beating Queen, it's almost like he's beating his father in a sense. Like, there's multiple things that can make this amazing, along with him making the raid suit his own in that sense. And who knows, this could be something that we just didn't see, like when Zoro's training with Enma, Luffy's getting ready. Who knows if Frankie and Usopp just didn't take that little canister and started tinkering with it, and then when he puts it on, it's his own. Like, multiple things could happen, but whatever the case may be, I trust in Oda to pull it through.
And this leads to some more things. Like, I'm still holding on to this hope that, like, Luffy has Gear 4, Zoro has Ashura, that Hell Memories truly is this alternate version or enhanced version. And I hope that it is tethered to the kind of traumas that Sanji has felt. And if that's the case, as I'm theorizing, then the more Oda lays on these troubled mindset that Sanji has, where he's in conflict, where he hates the fact that he's turning into his brothers, that he hates the fact that he betrayed.
Only makes that stronger. That's a good point.
All of this has to be compounding. And if that happens, then I can really take a retroactive look and say, okay, all of this was for a reason. Oda made Sanji look really, really bad for a very long time for a reason. And that is so that all of these things compound into Hell Memories. And so that's what I'm hoping for. When I read this chapter, I'm saying, okay, he's conflicted again. He's pissed. He's not liking this. He's asked Queen to stop referring to him as a Vinsmoke multiple times, and Queen's not even really looking at him as a human or a person. He's just like, you are a byproduct of Judge. I want to see it. This is all your work. Like, I'm going to kill you, but I won't kill you so fast if you show me Judge's, stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's not even showing Sanji the honor of an opponent. It's just objectifying Sanji. So I'm hoping that, again, this is compounding into Sanji's Hell Memories.
I'm with you on that. No, I'm definitely with you on that. Whatever it is, like, I think Sanji's gonna come through, and I'm ready for it. Give me the enhanced Sanji. And then if Hell's Memories, just to add on to your theory with the idea of, like, this could be where Hell's Memories goes into the fully formed version of what Judge wants, where he loses his emotions, or all of his emotions transfer into Hell's Memory, and we see the potential of what Sanji as a Vinsmoke would have been, but he lets it all out as his attack, and then he goes back to normal. That's something that could be in there too.
A rip from Mob Psycho, where he gets to a boiling point, or
and just goes 100%,
or a heat point, and it's like, maybe in that moment he becomes a Vinsmoke, where, like, he snaps, he just doesn't give a shit, and, like, the only thing that's holding him back is, like, okay, he still loves the Straw Hat, so he would never hurt a woman. Even in this rage snapped moment, he would never hurt the Straw Hats. But if you're outside of that, he just doesn't give a shit. And he will completely decimate you.
And then after that attack, he goes back to normal. I wouldn't be mad if, like, I don't know if you ever saw the artwork of if Sanji was a Vinsmoke with his hair black. I wouldn't be mad if his hair went black in that moment. Like, that would be badass, but that's just, like, really, really theorizing and me piggybacking on yours. But I like your theory either way.
Look, I mean, like I said, I'm a Straw Hat enthusiast, so I always try and think of, like, what would be, like, the penultimate version of all these things. So I'm thinking, like, Sanji snapping, getting that question mark emotional state, like Mob Psycho, his flames turning black, and it's a scary sight.
And he's really Blackleg Sanji, because, like, I'm expecting that to really be a thing where it's like, okay, we call him Blackleg now. It's not Vinsmoke, and Queen might acknowledge that. We shall see. But
yeah. But
he wasn't as bad as another character in this chapter. I'm gonna say that Sanji was nowhere near as bad as another character in this chapter.
Yeah. So we move on into Big Mom and Kid. And I have to admit, again, before I knew that Hawkins was actively doing something to Kid, I was like, how in the world is Kid on the ground again?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on? So Big Mom is looking, impressive again. I don't really see much damage outside of like some scratches here and there, which she probably sustained on the roof or just from like collateral damage. I am a little bit curious as to what the state of her iron balloon is because we don't have something like a Mother Carmel picture here. I'm not saying that like Kid and Law shouldn't be able to damage her without that because at this point they should, but I am curious about like, are they penetrating her iron balloon status? Is she susceptible to damage right now? How is that playing out? Because
or does she need that Conqueror's hockey coating to affect her? And if that's the case, these dudes ain't doing that this time.
And at the same time, we also know that they're not necessarily pushing Big Mom that hard. Kaido has gone into his hybrid form, his dragon form, his human form. Big Mom, she is using Hera and Napoleon simultaneously, but she hasn't like fused with. I said Hera and Napoleon.
No, you're right. Because she makes the lightning sword. Yeah.
But she hasn't fused with Prometheus.
For the fire hair. Yeah, no. Prometheus is attacking on his own. Like she's not gonna, he's just floating, doing his own thing.
So like we call that like Big Mom's hybrid form. It doesn't feel like she's necessarily in her hybrid form. So I'm not sure how well Big Mom and Law are currently pushing her. So again, this leads into the next moment where I'm thinking, again, was this written for the fandom where Law is telling him, what's wrong with you? You're useless right now. Again, the memes, useless Captain Kid instead of Eustace Captain Kid. The unofficial was talking about carry your weight or stop being dead weight. And so again, it's not clear to me.
I think the useless one was better. Like I think that even makes it more so for the joke. Like
it's definitely better. It wasn't clicking to me. Like, why is he grabbing his head? So again, I just thought like maybe Big Mom hit him in the head and he's just struggling to stay conscious or some shit. And I'm like, come on, man, this is really bad.
Yeah.
So it's still not clicking to me. What happened yet? Law gets in that very nice counter shot. So that's interesting. And then he gets hit with stolen fire.
Yep. Let me say this. Law definitely needed to get his ass beat by Doflamingo to get his ass stronger. Cause like Dofi Law would have been dead by now. Like this Law, he's looking better. But I will say this, his progression in strength doesn't really make a lot of sense. But it's okay.
I mean, Law, I don't even see like his attack potency or anything else increasing. The only thing that he needs to increase is like his stamina and energy output. Because
and his hockey.
Fruit, his hockey. But it's like his devil fruit is going to cover pretty much anything he needs. A counter shock, he was doing that against Dofi, as you said.
Yep. And he still hasn't really busted out Gamma Knife or radio Knife, so I'm assuming he'll use that on Big Mom when shit gets intense.
Right. So I don't know about that. Is there a way that, I know like Law's devil fruit won't necessarily work on Big Mom, but does that also mean that it won't work on her homies? Because Law does have soul manipulation ability. So could he switch Prometheus' soul?
That's a good point.
Well, he'd have to switch it with something else that has a soul.
Maybe switching Prometheus and Napoleon affects how they move and stuff. Like, they don't know exactly how these bodies work. I can maybe see that.
Do that, maybe switch Napoleon with like one of the fodder that's on the the live floor. I don't know, but I wonder because it wouldn't make sense that Napoleon would be able to counter Law's devil fruit.
Yeah.
Just based on the fact that it has Big Mom's soul, because I think it's hockey wise.
And see, just for the conversation we're talking about, I think it's setting up for Kid to really do the damage to Big Mom. But again, if that's the case, that makes me think even more so she's not losing.
I mean, you have a point there. As far as I'm concerned, Law's been kind of consistent, but Law is still, he's more of
support. Like
he's a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's really a quarterback. Kid is supposed to be the muscle here. So I do wonder how that's going to happen, especially with Kid not having advanced Conquerors, not having Rio. Don't believe he has advanced armament. Doesn't have future sight. So it's kind of like, okay, is his Devil Fruit going to carry him? Because again, all I've been seeing from his
now I could see Oda. I could see how Oda flips it. Like, let me just be honest. If Big Mom's Devil Fruit heavy, you awaken Kid right now. You give him something Luffy doesn't have. You make him awaken. Since Luffy got Conquerors, Kid awakens, and then he starts Magneto and shit.
Right. I mean, you do have, again, a good person in Law, because Law could also instantaneously gather a lot of the materials that Kid would need that may be outside of Kid's electromagnetic range, and then be like, Kid, you know, here you go. Like, let's do some. So, yeah, I don't know how it's going to happen yet. Big Mom is moving very, very interesting in this chapter as well.
Yeah, she is. She's like, y'all think Kaido is tough? I'm about to whoop y'all's ass.
Right. Kid's durability is looking interesting though, because I mean, he pretty much takes Mama Raid as well. I would like to think that the anime might expound on that, and you know, he used armament hockey on his back or something. But it's not happening.
Yeah. And then he makes I think this is also Oda looking at the fan base, but also who Kid's based off of. Like, I reached the 4 emperors. If I die now, what was the whole point of my pirating career? Because the real William Captain Kid was like a loser pirate. And I feel like, in real life, yeah, he's like a joke pirate, like legit. And like people say, like, he should have never sailed the seas, like he lost every time, like people just made up excuses for him. And I feel like Oda is saying like yeah, that's the real Captain Kid, and yeah, y'all call my kid useless, but I'm gonna show y'all. That's kind of just what I'm hoping for, at least.
I mean, look, like I said, I'm here for it, especially because I believe that Kid's already undergone the arc or the motivation needed for that to happen. He was on the rooftop and he was a spectator. He saw what the real was. He already respected. We already rehashed this, but I'll rehash it real quickly. He always knew Luffy was the real deal since Saba the Archipelago, when Luffy claimed he wanted to be Pirate King, and he was like, no one's really saying that anymore. But Wano definitely, to me, delivered an eye-opening experience for Kid. So the ground is set up for him to be like, okay, I got to show out. So I am waiting for that. I don't know how yet, but that's a good thing. I'm glad that I don't know how.
Well, his partner showed out and won his solo fight pretty soundly too. Like Killer could keep pushing and go help somebody if he really wants.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's obvious again. Hawkins has been kind of pathetic in my opinion, because it's the second time that, in all honesty,
Sanji should have been a supernova if we're going to make Hawkins a supernova.
Yeah. I mean, this is the second time Hawkins is straight up like, yeah, I know I can't beat you, so I tag someone important to you. So if you want to beat me, so long as you can cut down the person who's important, yeah, I stand no chance against you. And it's just like,
damn, bro. You don't even want to use your you didn't bother learning hockey. You have a pretty OP Devil Fruit. Like, you're just fuck it. Like, I'm complacent. So and Killer kind of tells him that. Killer's like, you see, you didn't even believe in yourself. And that's why you're so upset at me. You wish you could have did what we did, and now we're kicking their ass. Because like, that's why I said we haven't seen this type of emotion from Hawkins. And when he thinks about like arguing, like, why are you still doing this? They're unbeatable. And Killer's like, well, if they're so unbeatable, why aren't we dead yet?
Right.
And he's like, that's why you're upset, because you don't believe in yourself enough to take that chance.
Right. And we've always known that about Hawkins. That's probably his arc, is the fact that he relies so much. I mean, I know it ties into his Devil Fruit, but he relies on fate. So he's a passenger on his own journey, if that makes sense.
He's not the driver.
Kind of weird because he's a captain, but then again, you also see that's probably why he made the alliance with Kid.
Mm-hmm.
He knew at some point, I need to team up with somebody. I don't even get the feeling that like his crew is a crew. It's probably fodder for him to use this devil fruit. Like, just join me so that I have enough straw man bodies to passively make it through whatever I go through. So we get the Kid Zoro moment where, like Zoro did in Thriller Bark, he says, take my life instead of my captain's. We see that Hawkins, again, being such a passenger, probably doesn't understand an emotion like this.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck?
He's like, what is this? Like, I don't understand that. It's also probably secondary because the same thing kind of happened with Law. Law was like, yeah, you can take me in, free my crew. And he's like, really? Like, what's up with you guys? So he's pissed. He's kicking Killer now. And as you said, Killer already pretty much just read him and was like, you're freaking out because you're not understanding how we're still here and how the battle is so close. So, I mean, again, calls him out on that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I saw a post about
that was badass. Gotta say, got some major respect for Killer in this chapter.
Oh, yeah. Then you've got the idea of the mask cracking. So, you've got Who's Who, Killer, who else? King, and then hopefully some of the CP0's masks will get cracked. So you have that underlying theme going in Wano, which I also
identity, which is still for Sanji, Momo, and even, like you said, all the mask people as well.
Right. So that's really interesting. I don't know if we're going to truly see Killer's face because it's also one of these things where it's like, okay, if Oda's hidden Killer's face,
it seems like he has an idea when to show it, and I don't think this is the time to show it.
Right. Because even when he gave us Kamezo, his face was still wrapped up. But then you got to ask yourself, unless we know Killer, or we know someone who looks like Killer, why is this being hidden this long into the series? And so this is kind of where, again, I've heard loose speculations about this.
I have
but
too.
Maybe he's related to what's his name? Shiki.
Oh, you heard Shiki. I heard he might be a Vinsmoke. I saw that theory going around. I hated that one.
That one never made any sense to me because he would have said something to Sanji at this point,
or related to Sanji's mom, and he just doesn't know, and like they just don't know it. I'm not with either of them, to be honest.
I'm not with it either. I don't even.
I kind of want Killer to just be his own person.
I do too, but it's like at the same time, if he's going to be his own person, then Oda can't ever really break his mask because then
it's because that's a part of him.
To me, it's a part of him.
It's like, bold. If he does that, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay with the fact of never show his face. Like, if we're gonna do that, make his character the masked man, never show his face.
I mean, unless something like is wrong with his face, like if his face is like melted off or some shit, then like I get it. But the only other reason Killer's face should be hidden is because he has some trait that's gonna make us think something. Like maybe Shiki's eyebrows, I forgot what they do. They're very distinctive though.
Yeah.
So it's like if he has some kind of distinctive
they have like a line, they go down, like it's like a black line. Because
I mean, you give him any kind of distinctive marking and you immediately kind of change who Killer is based on who he may or may not be related to. So that's interesting as well. But again, this is where I felt very, very underwhelmed by Hawkins. He struck me initially as someone who would be smart. He's in the alliance with Kid. I understand some people might think that Kid just walks around aesthetically with metal attached to his left arm so that it's always in the ready or some shit like that.
But I thought he was smarter than that.
But like there's no way, in my opinion, Kid didn't mention that he challenged one of the uncles and got his arm cut off. There's no way that they were around each other and Kid never like reassembled his arm or disassembled his arm. And yet I'm supposed to buy that Hawkins didn't know that and didn't like take into account like, my weak spot is the one spot that won't correlate on Kid's body, his arm. So the other part that was also kind of underwhelming about this is, when did the Killer Hawkins fight start?
Oh, like
chapter wise, that was like what, 10, 18?
10, 15, 10, 13? 10, 15?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I think everyone in the fandom, as soon as they saw that Hawkins had set up Kid, they were like, oh, cut off, the left arm. So it's also one of these moments where it's like, dang, like Oda took a while, in my opinion, to deliver something that we all knew what was happening. I still enjoyed seeing it. The panel was very nice. Hawkins' reaction was nice. The theme of losing your arm, such as Kiku and now Hawkins, is consistent. I do like that. I wonder if there's some kind of correlation to losing.
Wait, you don't think he gets his arm back because Kid didn't have it, so that's why the damage goes to him. Hawkins is without arm. Damn, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, I mean, again, Law lost his arm, and he got it back. So it all depends on what happens. Like, I could totally see Hawkins having
straw connected or some shit.
Either a straw connected or, basically just switching sides. And then, if you have Chopper right there, then it's like, okay, does Hawkins get the same treatment Law got? And he gets his arm back because he gets medical treatment soon.
Actually, I think that would be good for his character to lose his arm. Like, this is the price you got for not believing in yourself.
I mean, no, I'm with it too. I'm just saying, I don't know, because Law lost his arm, but he got it back. But at the same time, you do have Kid, who is, that's permanently a part of his character. Shanks, that's permanently a part of his character. Kiku, if she isn't even still alive, that should
be a part
of her arm's permanently gone. Right?
Yeah, it's out of here. Like, it's in the snow somewhere, like lost. Oh no, it fell off the thing. Like, we don't know.
It fell. That's why Zoro and Robin got pissed off. Right.
Yep.
I do also like it because Zeph is one of the only archetypal pirates with like the wooden leg. So it's like, the more pirates we see with like missing limbs, the more piratey it feels. Just from a stereotype. So I'm with that as well. I wonder if he's going to continue like use his cards, because like, how do you use your cards and your sword?
Yeah, he can't shuffle anymore. Like, or he'll be like one of the one-hand shufflers, and then like,
right. Like, so I don't know what this means for Hawkins going forward, but his reaction when Killer says Kid has no left arm, like, I can't wait for the anime, because like, this scene is Killer laughing. Like, Killer's laughing whenever he's saying like, Hawkins, stop it, but I can't help but feel like Killer wants to laugh right here. Like, you fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
Kid has no left arm, you retard. Like, weren't you paying attention?
Yeah. I feel crazy. When you said that, I was thinking during the flashback to the organization of the Alliance. And I feel like, did he not say, I want to go after Shanks because of my arm? Did he not say that? Like, was that not a conversation? Or am I adding that memory to my head? But I remember he was like, oh, Law and Luffy going after Kaido. That's okay. We're going after Shanks. So why are we going after Shanks? Hawkins, did you not ask? Or are you just like, fuck it, yeah, let's go after Shanks?
So, yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, he's a dummy. And quite frankly, out of all the Supernova, if we never see him again, I'm cool with it. If we never see a Pooh again, I'm cool with it. We can sub them out for Beige, who I actually like, and let's get to know a Rouge and Jewelry Bonnie. Now, X Drake, I do want to see more X Drake. I'm not going to lie.
We're going to see X Drake because he's a part of Sword.
Yeah.
So he's going to show out eventually. But again, as I said before, we get more Zoro parallels because here Hawkins brings out the same straw man that Zoro defeated. So I said before, I expect Killer to be able to defeat Hawkins in a similar format. So because Hawkins never was able to set up Luffy or any of the Straw Hats, the fight with Zoro was pretty straightforward. Yes, Zoro was still protecting Luffy and Tama, so it wasn't as straightforward.
But he still got his ass beat.
The fact that Zoro and Killer pretty much one shot, what does he call it? The Card of Destruction?
The Straw Man or whatever. Oh, yeah, the Card of Destruction, yeah.
I completely buy that. I'm glad that wasn't drawn out, that was immediate, that was quick, because as soon as, the kid Straw Man was gone, Killer didn't have to hold back. This was drawn out for no reason, so Killer said, all right, I'm done. Beheaded, cuts the scythe in half, just really, really nice.
Yeah, it is. It was badass. And then
that Sonic spin.
That's the next one. Oof. Yeah, that's a dope move with his flip and everything. And just to go to a conversation we had off air, his blades are not black. The part where he cuts is 100% silver. Yep. It's the back of the blade that's darkened, but I think that's because that's just metal. But like where he cuts at, which is the inside on a scythe, that's not black. That's white.
Right. And so we were talking about that because I mentioned that my Twitter currently is debating Sanji versus Killer, because lately, again, I feel like a lot of people reading One Piece have become reactionary. Mm-hmm. So you get this chapter, and I said, okay, well, when you go back to the Zoro versus Killer fight, Killer didn't blacken his blades in reaction to Zoro blackening his. So I don't know where Killer's hockey standpoint is at, for real.
And if he don't have none, let me just tell y'all viewers, like I told Christian, if he don't have no hockey, Black Leg is kicking his ass. Exoskeleton plus hockey, man, them braids Killer gonna come with a little Sonic exoskeleton, get broken, partner.
Hey, like I said, I don't know.
I know.
After seeing the other thing that was I wanted to mention was, Hawkins is sadistic because he's banging his head.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. Like, I was like, wow.
Why that of all things? Like, yeah, you're giving kid a headache.
But if you really want to end it, but that's because he thought he had the upper hand and couldn't lose, and he was like, I'm a torture killer while I'm at it.
Right. So
that's just writing like, I can't kill kids, so I'm gonna just make him.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I don't know what kid. I don't know what Killer is gonna do from this point on, because I don't know who he matches up with.
Yeah,
he looks pretty bloody right now.
He does.
Probably just because he sat there and took Hawkins' damage, but I don't know what he does from this point on.
Probably he's probably going to be damaged and make his way to Kid. That's what I have to assume. He's making his way towards Kid, but I don't see him fighting anybody else. Or he might pass out.
We might see him like in the background, like slicing and dashing, because I don't see him being on the main stage again. The commanders are already there. The Flying Six are done. Kaido, he's not touching Kaido ever again. He's not touching Big Mom.
And I don't see him fighting a poo. Like, I feel like that's extra if we ever see that.
If I even see a poo on the screen again,
I'm going to be real. I much prefer X Drake in a Pooh's fight than Fukurokujo and Raizo, baby.
I mean, if Oda pulls out some Madara versus Hashirama stuff, then I'm laughing. But other than that, come on, man. Like, I'm not even interested in the Scabbards anymore. The Scabbards are done.
They're dead.
Denjiro's it. Denjiro, if he's with Hiyori, is the only Scabbard I give a crap about.
Wait, Jacket. Oh no, Ino's done. You're right.
They're done.
You're right. They're done. Peril Sparrow's done.
So,
yep.
And speaking on that, again, I have to reference the One Piece anime. Izo was cracking my ass up, man. The flashback did not feel personal at all because he fucking left, and everyone's sitting there with knives, and he's just sitting there shooting a bullet once every 10 seconds. And everyone else is like stabbing Kaido and just blankly standing there like,
just bang.
Yeah, I still remember Odin. Yeah, I'm here.
I thought the same thing. I was like, Izo, you're really not doing that. Like, you're just putting a gun in his chest. Like,
So yeah, I don't know, man. I just why Fuguro? I mean, okay, I get it. If it ties into Orochi, maybe. Okay, maybe.
But
outside of that,
has no purpose for me. Like real talk. Apu and X Drake could give us something fire in the sense of we learn more about Sword, we learn more about the government. Like Apu's like, I know who you really are. We could maybe get something like that. If that's not the case, then I don't care really. Then we could just get to Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy because that seems like where we're at. Like, and Kid, Big Mom in Law. Even though that fight I'm just iffy on because I don't see Big Mom losing. Like, and that's the funny thing. I'm actually more hyped to see X Drake and Apu because I know X Drake will win than I am seeing Kid in Law and Big Mom because I don't believe they'll win.
See, I mean, I just thought of this. This would be obsessive, but like, what if every time Kid gathers metal and tries to attack Big Mom like animates each metal object that Kid uses and turns it into a homie, and it's like Kid ends up fighting a bunch of metal homies, and it's like, well, yeah, Kid would win because he can like control them, but they also would not be behaving like he wants them to. So it would be like a tug of war of like control. Like, I don't want to move as you want me to.
Hey, that's a good theory because that's when Law could switch out the souls if we're gonna do that.
I mean, I don't know, but I don't see Kid or Law taking Big Mom down.
Nope.
I don't. They don't have hockey talking about at all.
Like, see, Oda kind of put himself in a bad position because, like I said, like when you showed the Conqueror's coding and when you showed Big Mom do that, it was like, oh, so that's the only thing that can really hurt Big Mom and Kaido. And I understand that, like, yeah, Killer got him with Sonic Scythes and Kid did those wrestling moves, but like, let's keep it a bean. If he's gonna beat Big Mom, then I don't see it. And that's why I said Awakening would make more sense here than a hockey bloom. Like, I could buy Awakening.
No, I buy it too. Also because I was clowning King for Vice Grip, but if you do it correctly, the way that Queen did to Sanji, then that technique does make sense for bypassing hockey masters.
Yep.
So a Vice Grip of sorts may work. Vice Grip on Big Mom, it's kind of hard because she's not Sanji. She's not a small target that you can wrap up.
She's a balloon.
Massive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then you've got Big Mom's been fighting this long. She's burning calories. So when is she going to go on a rampage or anything else?
Or
like that's
hunger
liable
pain
to happen at any given time.
Yep.
So I don't.
Can I be honest? I don't want a hunger pain to take her out though. Like I'm with you. And like if
nobody does.
If that's the worst case, like how to get her out of Wano, then okay. But I'd rather like Kid punches her so hard to where, she, like you said, she lost so much calories that like Kid's attack Cinder into the hunger pain, thus having to get her from Wano. I'd much rather that than like her just randomly getting it.
I mean, Big Mom's kind of flawed right now because we're all scared of her entering into another hunger pain. Or literally, if Kid hits her too hard in the head, please don't turn into Lyn again.
Oh, God.
She's so flawed with, like, her personality right now.
Because he had to do that. Because it's like,
yeah. Like, please, just stay the badass Yonko Big Mom. Don't nerf yourself by being hungry or forgetting who you are again.
Yep.
So... yeah, but it doesn't matter though. Like, I don't see Law or Kid beating hunger, Big Mom,
and that's my thing. Yeah, exactly, and that's why it's like that's why that match is so flawed to me. Like, I have a Law figure. Law's one of my favorite characters. Yeah. I love Kid. I want to see them succeed, but as someone who understands how writing works, as someone who understands how story works, they have no point for them to beat them. Like, Law has no ties to Big Mom. Kid has no ties to Big Mom. So if they're beating her, what does that serve for the story other than, wow, okay, they beat a Yonko? I mean, that could make sense, but like, then you really did Big Mom a disservice as a character. And why did we go to Topland other than Sanji? Like,
yeah. I mean, not only that, but then you're also putting Big Mom's name in the mud because you already have Big News Morgan saying, well, Luffy beat her. So then it's like you have two other supernovas who beat her. So then she's practically a joke. You're not about to say, oh, Law and Kid are the 6th and 7th Yonko. No, especially not with Luffy making bigger waves and bigger headlines in the same place.
Yep. It took 2 of y'all to beat her where he beat Kaido by himself. Yeah.
Nah. That's not happening.
I'm either on 2 accords because I like your thing of Elbaf, Luffy, they're solving their differences at Elbaf. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, no. Okay, so if Luffy does take out Kaido and then assuming Blackbeard takes out Shanks, then they'd be equal and then Big Mom can be for Luffy because then it'd be 2-2 if you count Whitebeard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was going to say I forgot about Whitebeard, so if Luffy were to take out Kaido, I would like to see Blackbeard take out Big Mom is like they're staying equal. So I'm really thinking Blackbeard's the wave right now, but I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense for Blackbeard to be the wave, but I think we all know Blackbeard's going for a 3rd Devil Fruit.
And I don't think it's Big Mom's.
I mean, it could be and it couldn't be. Like, some people say, okay, well, he has, the Quake Fruit, which is like probably one of the highest attack potency fruits.
And isn't it a Paramecia?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
His Dark Fruit
is a Logia.
Everything else. So it's like, he could be going for the Soul Fruit because that could make him broken, but wouldn't he be going for a Zoan?
For the dragon?
So it's like, Shanks, he wants to kill him for personal reasons, but not to steal a Devil Fruit. Kaido, he would want to steal a Devil Fruit, but I don't really see him pulling up right before Zoro kills.
I can't lie. If he took Big Mom's fruit, that would be so out of left field. And I like, if that happened, I wouldn't see, like, I'd be mind blown.
Yeah. So I don't know. But him taking the Poneglyph from Big Mom,
yeah,
makes sense.
That makes sense. Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah. But hey, that's pretty much all we got for this week. Christian, tell the people where they can follow you on social media.
All right. So on Twitter, it's going to be Arc Season. I'm sorry, not Arc Season. Hollinger94. And on my other platforms, it'll be Arc Season. And if you want my graphic design content, then that'll be Design Season LLC on all platforms.
Make sure y'all go follow Christian. Y'all can follow Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube No Break. So we'll be back next week. And be sure to check out all the content. But until then, have a good one and peace.
Peace.